Hi. My presentation is kind of very down to the ground. It's more on the practical side than on the very high end and high tech side. So my name is Levan. I'm from a company called Lineate. I do software and solution architecture there. Lineate is a company that's been on the market for more than 20 years. We have head office and architectural office in US. We have a largest development office in Tbilisi, in Yerevan, and in Krakow. We mostly do solution. We sell solutions, not the products. So clients come to us with very kind of real world problems, and we try to solve them for them. Later we kind of not later, but last few years we've been into the big data industry. We generated a lot of data. We learned how to actually move the data around, work with it. And as Brian mentioned earlier, the data, when you want to kind of actually get into the data, you have to spend some time with it. And my wife often mentions this famous quote by Coase, like if you torture data long enough, it will confess to anything. And when we start the data project, I always kind of go in with that exact attitude. But as we will see later, I always come out with a little different approach. So the company came to us called Invest Hotels, which is the largest hotel chain in Canada. They have over 80 hotels. They work with different brands, and they wanted to kind of expand their business and wanted to use the data for that. Over the years, they generated lots of data into sales, into operations, capital projects, HR, guest reviews, and they believed that interesting insights into their business was hiding in that data. So they came to us. They said, this data is kind of siloed in very large amount of systems, like different brands like Marriott, Hyatt. They have their own systems, and the data is not compatible with each other. And some are in cloud, some are on premises, like literally in the basements of the hotels, and some live in the laptop of some of the smaller, guest house type of operations. And they came to us and said, can we somehow get that data together, right? Obviously, they were working with that data. They are a big company. They are they operate very efficiently. And so they were gathering some of the very crucial and very important data for the hospitality industry, which is what's the revenue breakdown, what's the field breakdown, and so forth. But unfortunately, that data that took a lot of time. It took literally kind of copying the data points from PDFs and from Excels and stuff like that, and it would take kind of weeks to gather the data intelligence for the board meeting at the end of the month. And we at Lineate were developing the same product for our internal system. Obviously, the business is quite different. The business model that doesn't match at all, but the moving parts are the same. So there are kind of different systems around, and we needed to kind of get everything together in one place so we can kind of do the data analysis and so forth. So we kind of went in. We took the challenge. We were happy in the beginning. And we were okay, we know the data engineering, we know development, accounting for some reason, project management, etc. And now we need to learn the hospitality, the industry, obviously, not how to treat your guests. which led to actually semesters worth of learning new phrases and new abbreviations. Things like RevPAR, which is a revenue per available room. Now I know that. I would never know that if I didn't go into this project. And we kind of went in with assumptions like what we know about the data. Data is always big, it's always dirty, it lives in weird places, and it always hides something. So as we said earlier, if you torture it long enough, it will confess to anything. So we take these assumptions and go in, and boy, it didn't disappoint. Data was dirty, it lived in weird places, and it was hiding stuff, obviously, even from the first look. We had a duplicate data, entities didn't match, like one hotel system might even not refer to hotel as hotel. So we had to somehow map what's the hotel in one system and what's the hotel in another system. And they were weird file formats. I don't want to talk about it. Unstable APIs, one of the main APIs changed 3 times, introduced the breaking changes without warning us. So looking at the problem, we decided that we wanted to build a data lake. This is something that's already quite established by now. It's a kind of 3 medallion architecture. You get this bronze layer where you keep all this trash data. You get the silver where you kind of clean everything, make it into one kind of same type, kind of uniform, and then the golden data where actually the business logic applies. So business logic, like, are the fields right? Are the kind of calculations correct? Do we add up and stuff like that? And that's where we apply our business logic. And besides being a reporting system, it also becomes the alarming system, which is nice. And the golden data is the data that you want, that you put in the data warehouse where like ML people, the scientists and the kind of managers go in and look at the data. And we put everything, we made everything available through Amazon QuickSight, which is a business intelligence tool. You just go in, there is a no-code kind of approach to it. And you can just kind of drag and drop and create the visualizations, which is really, really nice. And it gives people kind of comfort of experimenting with the data without caring about where the files are, how they look, and so forth. We created this uniform data and made available it through the BI tool. And that's what we actually did in Data Octopus. We kind of give each department their data sets and give them these tools, and they build their own things. And it's amazing, kind of people build their own dashboards, and they kind of introduce their own insights into it. Like, where you cannot always like know the domain of that department completely to build all the visualizations for them, right? And they introduce the visualizations for you. Kind of they do your job at some point. Bottom line is that data is available for everyone from all the departments. It can be accessed from a single place, a single tool, and it encourages the sharing of the ideas, sharing of the techniques of extracting insights, and it's really encourages people to even help you kind of like redesign your golden layer and kind of generate the ideas, and it makes data really, really much more useful. Like the trash data that you started with that came from like weird places, and it kind of transforms it into, gives you more insights. Plus there is a bring your own data. The modern BI tools kind of can give you the ability to, you can just upload your CSV or your Excel and introduce the new insight, the new dimension to your existing data, which actually opened the floodgates for the, since people could kind of add their dimensions to it, it went from like front to back. We would take that data, if it was important enough, and introduce it into the actual data flow. And the floodgates opened, other departments wanted in on it, the new ideas started coming in, like let's add this, let's add that. And really new nice insights came into the picture. Things like, okay, how can we correlate our sales and our kind of room availability to the statistical department's output of the Canada? And things like that, like how does the actual forecasts from the past relate to the actual sales, plus how it was it introduced lots of things. And just by letting the users play with the data without the kind of, users cannot work with XML. I mean, that's unbelievable. And it kind of gave the new dimension to this data. And obviously, since the data was now so readily available and so kind of at the tip of the fingers, the data scientists kind of get more time, freed up their time, and kind of they got to the next chapter in their business, which was the machine learning. And it was already readily available. It was already there. And for them, the actual use case for it was more accurate forecasting, and like into the revenue, into the occupancy rate, and stuff like that. So I guess I'll keep it short. So key takeaways is data will always be dirty. It's sometimes it's like beyond imagination. But it's rarely useless. You can always make some use of the data. You can only go so much into the domain which you're working with, and that kind of you need to give your users access to the data somehow with familiar tools to kind of help you with the insights. And at the end of the day, like when I get out of the project, I'm not as courageous anymore, and I'm like, if you treat data right, it might show you interesting new ways. That was it for me. Thank you.